Lift up your eyes. That's the motto of Pope Leo XIV's upcoming visit to Spain. It's an invitation to look up at the soaring towers of the Sagrada Familia in Barcelona. The trip comes as the city marks the centenary of Antoni Gaudi, I thought it was Antonio, but maybe I'm wrong, Antoni Gaudi's death, and celebrates the completion of the Basilica's central Tower of Jesus Christ. It's a major step in a project that's been under construction for more than 140 years. Our arts correspondent Eve Jackson has been to Barcelona ahead of the Pope's visit to make a special programme. Tell us more. This has been under construction for a very long time indeed.
It certainly has. Construction actually began in 1882, and Antoni Gaudi spent the last 40 years of his life working just on this. Now, he knew he wouldn't live to see it completed, so he left behind models, drawings and detailed calculations so others could carry on his vision. Now, a century after his death, this vision is still taking shape. The latest milestone is the completion of the Tower of Jesus Christ. Now, that is what Pope Leo will bless during his visit in Barcelona tomorrow. It's topped by a giant white cross, and it has made the Sagrada Familia the tallest church in all of the world. The architect is Mauricio Cortesier, and he spent 2 decades working on this. Take a listen.
At 172.5 meters tall, the Tower of Jesus Christ crowns the entire Basilica complex and makes it the tallest church in the world, surpassing even Ulm Cathedral in Germany. This height was not chosen by chance. Gaudi was determined not to exceed the work of nature. His reference point was Montjuic Hill in Barcelona. The tower therefore remains below 180 meters, 172.5 meters to be precise, and that figure is directly linked to that principle. Remaining faithful to Gaudi's vision is a major challenge. Fortunately, many original sources have been preserved. Plaster models, stucco maquettes and crosses that reflect the distinctive silhouette found throughout Gaudi's buildings, always crowned with a 3-dimensional cross.
Well, despite being unfinished, it is one of the most visited monuments in Europe, attracting more than 4 million visitors every single year. You need to book tickets well in advance, but people just come to stand on the street and gaze up at it. Take a listen.
The main symbol of the city of Barcelona is the Sagrada Familia. It's easy to recognize.
I think it is special to see this kind of stuff once in a life.
I can see he's created a lot of nature-inspired elements into the church.
We're very proud of this church because it has the tallest church tower in the world.
Take the time to explore all 4 facades. Each one is different, full of unique details, and that's what makes it truly one of a kind.
So Eve, who exactly was Gaudi?
The story of Spain's most celebrated architect is quite unusual. He was born in Catalonia in 1852. He was the son of a coppersmith, and he spent much of his childhood in the countryside. He had very poor health and rheumatism as a child, so that meant he couldn't play with other children. So while they were out playing, he was observing nature. And these observations would later be the foundation of his architecture, which was so inspired by nature. He moved to Barcelona as a teenager. That was to do his studies in architecture. And after graduating, he developed a style that really is unlike any we had ever seen before. And the story of his death is also a remarkable story. In 1926, he was actually struck by a tram. And he was dressed so raggedly that people didn't recognize him. They didn't realize it was this great architect who was building Barcelona's greatest church. So he died in a pauper's hospital. A few days later, they realized who he was, and he had this enormous funeral where thousands of people came to pay homage to him.
It's an extraordinary story. And his genius, Gaudi's genius, it extends far beyond the Basilica. He has an enormous number of projects in Barcelona and beyond.
Well, the Sagrada Familia is, of course, his masterpiece, but it's only one chapter of the story. There's Park Guell, definitely somewhere worth visiting. It was originally conceived as an exclusive housing development, but it failed as a real estate project, but now is one of Barcelona's most visited landmarks. There you really see Gaudi's obsession with nature. I was lucky enough to have a tour around it with the guide Eric Ossel. Take a listen.
Eve. Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Yes.
This is such an incredible place.
I know. So this is that place in the city where you get to experience Gaudi with the spaciousness, the iconic tile work.
This is one of the most visited sites in Barcelona. Park Güell sits on a hill above the city. Curved lines, broken mosaics, and organic forms ripple across the landscape.
Park Güell comes from Eusebi Güell, who was Gaudi's great patron, a wealthy industrialist, and this was originally his idea for real estate, built between 1900 and 1914. So 60 different houses inside of like a gated community for the more well-off. And they made one model house that Gaudi ended up living in for quite a long time, almost until the end of his life. Sadly, though, this was a failed business plan. It was ended up giving over to the city as a park. It then opened up the same year that Gaudi passed away in 1926.
So this is one of the best places to really understand Gaudi's work, this park.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're walking up on one of the highlights of being here, which is El Drac, the dragon, the salamander, the lizard, goes by many names, has this Trencaty tiling that Gaudi has made so famous, this broken tile work, so vivid, so colorful. One of the things that really fascinates people about this park is, even though this is well over a century old, it feels modern, it feels almost futuristic in a way. That is the timelessness of Gaudi's work. He said, if you use nature as your great influence, you never go out of style.
So that was Park Güell. There's also Casa Vincennes. That's one of Gaudi's earliest major commissions. It's quite different from the Gaudi that most people know. It's colourful, geometric, full of ceramic tiles, flowers, and oriental influences. There you really see a young architect as he's experimenting. That's one of his houses. There's also a house called Casa Batlló. There you see Gaudi at his most daring and inventive. The facade, as you can see there, it seems to ripple a bit like the surface of water. It is incredibly modern considering how long ago it was built. What's remarkable, though, is that Gaudi completed 20 projects during his lifetime, and 7 of them are now UNESCO World Heritage Sites.